Today we are looking at 5 synergies in Abiotic Factor that go hard. I ranked them in order of how much fun I had with each one of them and how much I found myself using each of them. At number 5 is the Gunsmith. It is a build that uses the armor for the Forge Armor set or one of its upgraded versions and uses just guns, except for the Awful Magnum. It looks a little wonky playing with this instead of some of the much cooler late game sets, but that 20% bullet ricochet chance is much better when we have guns of our own. If we are using guns, then we are likely out of melee range. If we are out of melee range, then the most common form of damage we will encounter is projectile damage. Almost all the damage will then have a 20% chance to not do anything, while we get to deal likely a lot more back. It is likely the best way to get the most out of the ricochet effect that the armor gives us. We can also try adding a powerful hard light shield into the mix to perfectly deflect bullets back into somebody's face. So all ricochets all the time. In fourth is the mid-game radio pack build. Every other run I play, I end up using the radio pack to some degree with a crystalline vial trinket, just because it's just so easy to put the two of them together, and I never run out of charge when I have them together. I don't always try to put on every electric tool or item, but there are a lot of weapons and things that benefit from having the two together. The crystalline vial slowly recharges everything, while the radio pack makes it so that all of your electronic items lose their electric charge much more slowly. So the batteries just last and last and last. None of my things really run out of charge then. The biggest drawback is obviously the small inventory space, which is quickly outmatched by all the other backpacks that you will immediately find. We can remedy this, however, with an employee locator trinket that we just keep in our backpack, Tiny Box Tim, who is locatable using the employee locator trinket. Extra inventory is something that he loves to give us, and he can hold any amount of weight. So as long as we have one of these trinkets on us, we can always find 6 extra inventory slots that can hold any amount of weight. Together, this is not really enough for the late game. Once I get to Hydro, I always want to upgrade to something more substantial. But until then, it is pretty good to have an electric thrower, a long jump pack, have you have multiple flashlights, guns with flashlights on them, laser pistol, vacuum, healing briefcase, and a ton of other things that I'm sure I'm just forgetting about. Third is a favorite of mine, Tesla towers. If you aren't familiar with Tesla turrets yet, you should try them out. They are relatively expensive early game and easy to pass over compared to some other turrets and defenses. They seem to be outclassed by many things early due to their short range. They can also be a little inconvenient at times. Add a simple white skull trinket to our inventory. It prevents the turrets from targeting us and stops us from taking any electric damage as a nice bonus. When we look at the most expensive, or rather the only expensive parts of the turret, the screws, they equate to 16 metal scrap. The first mini boss in the game is quite farmable using the turrets. Bots of all kinds kneel to the might of their master Tesla. Just lining up a few by the bots will be enough to stun lock them. Each one that is unalived to this yields 10 to 12 metal scrap when chopped up. That's not enough for you? Fear not. We are also going to get 5 sodas to quench our thirst. And right, the soda yields us scrap metal when you drink it. The blue CPUs from the security bots are tradable to the blacksmith for an anvil. The anvil can be scrapped for 20 metal. So in total, we get between 35 and 37 scrap metal yield per bot. The Tesla turrets partially pay for themselves in this way. Once we incorporate a battery, the turrets can stay on at night whenever the bots try to wake up. We don't need to show up except to really collect the bounty of it. We can move our turrets into every sector and ensure every living thing is given 6 megavolts worth of surprises every time they round a corner. Number 2 is Fogger. I had trouble coming up with a name for this, so I decided to call it Fogger after Frogger, the Overwatch YouTuber. You use the Composer armor set to gain higher jumps by 18% and the fog effect. Then add a fog trinket in, which is activated by the fog from the armor, which means now you jump for a cost of very little stamina, and you jump higher. And you also can run much farther as well. Add in the blue cube. Now you jump like you're in a bouncy castle. We're not done. The excursion suit gives you a second jump, doubling your vertical movement upwards, which is pretty darn high. You might say, this is not nearly as high as a jetpack, I hear, and why not add a jetpack and get even higher? Well, the jetpack doesn't let you double jump with the excursion suit, so it's already a non-bow combo. Besides, why go up when much of the game is horizontally relative to you? Now enters the long jump pack, the superior option, something that lets us actually dodge damage and escape enemies very quickly. We hang in the air far longer than the average beta jetpack user. We can go much further and faster, adding explosives and rockets into the mix for fun. We basically just downloaded Pharah from Overwatch 2. Hovering is a little tricky, but look how fun this is. Almost nothing can touch me, and I can one-shot or two-shot anything. Look at this! Look how great this is! How is this not like the best thing? Some people might have noticed, where could you possibly get all of the grenades? Our last synergy is the where. Introducing the Planter Mug build, a very benign sounding but very optimized build. It starts by becoming a botanist, then take narcoleptic, dry skin, and weak bladder traits. This gives us 19 points to use for whatever we want. With those 19 points, we can obviously buy Gardener and Leadbelly. We will have a 150% XP gain in agriculture, and we can drink the filthiest water in the facility, which means we can save every drop of water that we find for our lovely garden, which can only use clean water. With our 7 remaining points, we can pick whatever we want. So that's all just a bonus. Now, you would probably be thinking, well, that's a lot of negative traits. How are you gonna like optimize this? How are you gonna fix that? We start the game as a coffee addict with 2 green thumbs. If you have looked at the coffee wiki page, you already know what's happening. The mug of coffee comes with many benefits. +1 cold resistance when the coffee is hot. And we get 25 thirst when we drink it. We also gain -30 fatigue, so we reduce our fatigue, and a lovely coffee mug. Downside is the consonant strain of 7. This will make us poop more than weak bladder already does. This is part of the plan though. We need every dropping for compost. Compost is needed for farming, but we will quickly have more poo than we will have bioscrap. Luckily, potatoes can be scrapped for bioscrap, ensuring we have the ability to turn every dropping into compost very early in the game. What do we do with the compost? Well, we have a lot of mugs. Chains aren't really used for much. Pressure gauges aren't really used for much. With that stockpile, we will have a massive amount of grenades, an item that can one-shot most enemies in the game. Our agriculture skill will be quickly maxed out, and we will never starve or die of thirst. We can also start stockpiling wheat for healing items, and we already have all that bioscrap, so we can just start mass producing needles to support our medic skill. With all the food, we can afford to non-stop cook and max out our cooking without much effort or drain on our resources. And if we take hobbyist chef earlier before, using some of those extra 7 points, now we have double XP gain for cooking. We can very rapidly, very early gain like maxed out agriculture and max out cooking. If we want to get all the crafting XP, just stockpile all the veggies until you have a massive amount. Then you eat a brain, you drink a pot of balanced soup, and scrap everything into bioscrap, netting us a massive amount of XP for basically free. Have fun sciencing, and don't forget to kiss the homies goodnight.